ReefDudes is sponsored by Ecotech Marine and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're getting an update on the Waterbox 7225. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. So I was cleaning the glass and I was like, the tank looks pretty dang good today. So great day to shoot a video. And overall, things are looking pretty dang fantastic. You know, I'm pretty happy overall. Now, the tank definitely looks full. It definitely needs trimming. I know I say this every video. The funny thing is I actually did take out a bunch of blue stag and some other stuff, and I even hacked a bunch off my torch colony, but it still looks big and beautiful. You can see a bit of a void on the right hand side there where I opened it up so it's not quite growing into that guy. And I do have a few frags living on the sand bed, so you know, if anyone local is after some dragon soul, hit me up. And yeah, things are looking pretty dang good. I think I'm actually going to remove and redo this island at some point. It used to be a big rainbow of zoas. Now, as you can see, those nasty minty ones have just completely taken over. So I think something new for here is going to be just yank it out. And then the rest of them, I think might be some manual removal. I did buy some of those 4-step style tweezers, and I'm going to try ripping them out with that. Now again, with some of these ones that are a little more invasive, they tend to be a little nastier, so do run carbon when you do that, just for good measure. And probably just take out some small chunks at a time and not completely go to town on them all at once. Now, all the new acros I added not too long ago seem to be doing pretty happy in the tank. You know, they've some good coloration, you know, they seem to be growing, seem to be happy, so that's pretty awesome. So I'm pretty stoked for those guys. And it's nice to have a little, you know, fresh core lights in the tank and something different than the stuff I already have. So, you know, again, a lot of the stuff is probably going to be hacked back and put in a couple different ones in those spots. They're kind of temporary. Some of these are just like temporary on the rock. You know, some of them I'll probably move a little later, but overall they're happy. You know, Jimmy Bean's already encrusting onto the rock, which makes me happy. This is a really cool one. You know, the Walt Disney in the back, my one little branch is finally encrusting. Again, it's taken ages, but slowly but surely. Looks like a fly just fell into the tank and the triggerfish was taking some random nips at him. It's actually kind of funny. Huh, look at that. Triggerfish eating a fly. Yum, 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 yum. Oh, we got it. Huh. Well, there you go. I've never seen a triggerfish eat a fly. That's kind of cool to randomly catch that. Triggerfish, super cool fish. This is a blue throat trigger. It's a male. Usually the males have the more pronounced blue in them. Probably one of the most reef safe of the triggers. Super cool fish. I do love them. And it's cool when you watch their fins because they both go left and they both go right. It's like really cool watching them swim. But tons of personality, super duper cool fish. And apparently, fly control. The other bit on the future to deal with would be this Bernardipora. It's slowly going up the rock, and I don't really want it to go upwards, so I might have to find a way to do a bit of fragging. This was its own island, and it bridged over and did it. So very slow grower, but it is fairly aggressive. And it is kind of funny. You can see where the heavy flow is hitting it, and all the pulps are retracted, where all the other ones are out. So some people will call this like a short tentacle Goni, but it's actually Bernardipora. So really, really easy, but if you guys do get this one, definitely keep it on its own little island for good measure. The Raja Rampage, this guy seems to be encrusting out pretty good, seems pretty happy. I'm a little worried he is a bit too close to the acro, so might see if I can move it down a little bit, but we'll see over time. But super duper cool green pop of color. Whatever that gold one is, I don't even know, but that's been growing and crusting out. Seems pretty darn happy. The Gonis are big and beautiful as always. You know, a little bit of daff I'm just noticing on the bottom of my orange passion from the Goni, so I might have to see if I can move that over, but this guy's getting pretty big and starting to grow and everything around it, so I'm starting to run out of space. So I might have to be a little bit of fragging on that guy in the near future. Or if I do another island over here, maybe I'll completely move it over. My plate coral down here, this one I did move it back underneath to be a little bit more lower flow, and you can see it has more tentacles now, which I thought was interesting. So when it was in higher flow over here, it had less tentacles out. Now it's been since back there, you get a lot more tentacles. That guy definitely appreciates a little lower flow to fully shine. The gold hammer colony was this teeny little guy. It's definitely growing pretty big and plump over here. This guy, I think it's called grape soda. I forget the name of it, but I did have it glued up here and it kept falling off for whatever reason. So I glued it on the rock on the bottom sand bed. And again, this will be one I'll move on to whatever new structure I build here later. And you can see I did do a bunch of hacking over here because there was just too much stuff growing into each other. You can kind of see from this angle the bit of the void that I made in the torches because, again, it was just growing right into the other guy and slowly killing it off. You can kind of see the bit of dead going down that side. So it's definitely happier that's not getting stung 24/7. Now the funny thing is, I like trimmed off a bunch of the dead stuff to make it look better, and then all it did is reach a bit further and take out the next one beside it. So it's almost better to leave those couple dead branches as a bit of a physical barrier between that and the healthy tissue. Come all the way over here, I got a pretty big colony of Duncans, and this one, you know, part of me wants to take out and frag it, and the other part of me is wondering if I can even fit it out right now. So it's getting pretty tight, especially with it grows in this corner of the rock. So it might be tricky, but at some point I may hack it back a little bit, because as you can see, you know, it's right up against the glass, and it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine not be able to fully clean the glass in a few of these spots. And you know, if you come back over here, same thing, that whole corner there, I can't even get to it because of the orange setosa. And there is a tube anemone living in there that gets a bit of light and keeps on going, but it'd be nice to actually see some of the stuff a little more. Got the Marvin the Martian over here. This guy is extremely shaggy. I was curious how he would do closer to the MP60, but he seems pretty darn happy and pretty darn shaggy, so it's really happy to see. Love seeing those super duper shaggy polyps out. And as we come through here, I'm realizing that I have a small army of rainbow claw polyps. I've probably taken out a bunch of the acros in there, so I think it is time to start hacking that out and making a bunch of frags of it. And I'll sell a bunch locally or trade it or whatever with some of the local peeps. But yeah, this stuff is super cool, but it is definitely starting to take over. And I theorize there's probably a bunch of skeleton underneath where it's growing on top of it. So probably won't look quite as pretty once it's removed, but I'm fine with on the rocks, but I think the stuff growing up in the acros is definitely time for some hacking. And I almost forgot about it. There's some branching Cyphastria back there that's been starting to be overgrown by the orange setosa. So that's another one I'll have to see if I can chisel a bit out and kind of save it just to have it. Got my cool little rainbow chalice. I do have two of those. I have one on each side, slightly different, but both super duper colors. The Pectina's looking pretty awesome today, a Space Invader. This guy's kind of weird. Some days I'll look at it and it won't be as puffy. It'll be kind of thin and not look as great. And then other days I'll look at it and it'll be super puffy and extra happy. Honestly, I'm not quite sure the difference of why, you know, some days it looks great and some days it looks meh. But today she's looking pretty phenomenal. Starting to see a little bit of low-key warfare going on back there. As you can see, the Acan Antenata is starting to do a little bit of warfare with the Jack-o'-lantern Leptocera, so I'm gonna have to move that guy apart, move it back a little bit. I think I'm gonna see if I can break off that plate, because I still do like this base below it. So I'm gonna save that and build some new stuff off it. It would be pretty cool. Yeah, so sneak peek down there, you can see how close everything is to the glass. It'd be almost cool to have the same tank, but 6 inches wider, just to have a little more space on either side. Kind of long-term problems as stuff grows in. I don't know. What do you think? Is it time for an upgrade? Not that I have that much more space, but I could probably sneak in about 6 inches if I went edge to edge of that wall. Or put a tank in another spot. I don't know. It'd be a lot of work to move it, but it's probably easier and cheaper to just frag down the corals. Down below, the refugium is growing extremely well. It was a bit overdue, but I took about 2/3 of a 5-gallon bucket out of here the other day. It was probably about 2 inches growing out of the water, so it was well due for a harvest. I have my little my KH in here, so my alkalinity, so if I gotta add a little bit. Super duper quick and easy to just get a little shot of elk. The other thing I've been toying with lately is with these. I do love it, but the wife always complains about like the blue light spill on the table and whatnot. So I've been toying with the idea of building a little bit of a miniature floating canopy, you know, maybe like an 8-inch border that just went around it just to hide the light and kill a bit more of the spill. Still debating that. I was thinking if I made a U shape out of that PVC board and kind of wrapped it around it and could probably rest it just on the bar, and it might be a cool look. So I don't know, might be a future project potentially on that one. I mean, it could build bigger shades as well, but I don't know, back and forth on the canopy. It'll be a little bit harder to get in, but it'd probably be a fairly slick look if I did it, you know, a matching white that was not too chunky, but wrapped around it. Otherwise, I don't know if this guy's 100% out yet, but you probably saw it snuck in my videos, but that's the Plank Mini. It's another really cool feeder from the Vast Marine that I've been using for a while on here. So yeah, if you guys got any suggestions, questions, stuff you want to know about the tank, you know, stuff that you do differently, I'm always curious. You know, one of my biggest self-inflicted changes lately is I've just been trying to lower my nutrients. Have had a bunch of high nitrate and phosphates, and I am running GFO as well as dosing a bit of Lim NP and a little bit of phosphate. So that's been my method to get them down the last little while for a little bit of extra stuff on top of GFO. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this update. As always, if you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Any questions at all, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys on the next update.